Fiery debate erupted today over the use of the so-called show manifesto, a package of video, pictures, and writings from the Virginia killer. Cho mailed it to NBC at 9:01 a.m. Monday, right in between murders at Virginia Tech. Network executives carefully opened the package, then turned over the contents to authorities, but not before making a copy for themselves.
News with Brian Williams.
Last night, NBC Nightly News host Brian Williams revealed some of the contents of that package during its newscast. And it wasn't just TV. Some of the biggest newspapers in this country and south of the border featured Cho as well. Chilling images, brandishing guns on front pages across North America. NBC released a statement saying, "The decision to run this video was reached by virtually every news organization in the world, as evidenced by coverage on television, on websites, and in newspapers. We've covered the story and our unique role in it with extreme sensitivity." Here at CTV, we did air some of the pictures and video, but instituted guidelines to ensure its use was very limited. To discuss this further, we're joined by Wendy Freeman, Executive Producer and Vice President of CTV National News. She's in Halifax. And Roger Aronoff, a media analyst in Washington. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Roger, you've been critical, and I want to start with you. What did NBC and other media outlets do wrong?
Well, look, I understand they're wanting to show some of the footage, and we all want to see it. But I think they did do some things wrong. For instance, when they decided to show it, and they talked about it on the news and on MSNBC, their sister cable company beforehand, they seemed to be teasing it almost for ratings. And at the end of the evening newscast last night, they talked about, and we will have additional footage on tomorrow's Today Show. So it was almost like it was during sweeps and they were trying to get ratings. Another thing that they did was they used their logo, and so whenever CNN or any of the other networks showed the footage, that NBC logo was on there as if it was their footage. Now, it was theirs by right of having received it in the mail, but it certainly wasn't in the traditional fashion of having gone out and covered the story or reported it. It kind of fell into their laps. And then when they saw the reaction today, they came back after certain family members refused to come on the Today Show, deciding that they were very upset with NBC for airing it. Then NBC said, okay, well, from now on, we're only going to use no more than 10% of our airtime to show this video footage, which means 6 minutes per hour, and after commercials, even less than that. So I don't think that's a big concession on their part.
Wendy Freeman, it must have been a very difficult decision trying to measure out the appropriate use of this material.
Yes, Paula, it was, and we did not take this decision lightly. We held high-level editorial discussions last night with our senior staff. As well, this morning we held a conference call with all our news directors and show producers across the country, and this was not taken lightly. And we had high-level discussions whether to air this video.
Tell us a little bit about what went into the decision to use some of the material, albeit not all of it.
Well, we have begun to limit the use of this video, but we believe that we do not censor the news. We truly believe that we should not suppress it. We believe that Canadians and our viewers are mature enough to listen and to watch this material, as horrific and horrible as it is, and they need to make their own judgments after they watch this. This is horrific stuff, Paula, but we truly believe that we can't keep it from our viewers.
Roger, I can just imagine if NBC had held on to this. I can imagine that we would have heard cries of censorship, obstruction of justice. People were desperate to know, how can such a terrible, terrible crime happen on this continent and continue to happen? Don't people have a right to know?
Well, sure they do, and I think absolutely all of the material should be released on a website, because, frankly, I don't want to find out from NBC or other networks based on their editorial decisions what's in there worth knowing. In other words, were there political or religious, or was this person influenced by the media? Well, let us all take a look and analyze it. I don't want to leave it just to them.
Wendy Freeman, isn't that really, though, what journalists do every day? I mean, we can't just sort of bombard viewers or readers with extraordinary amounts of information. Do you have to decide? Do you have to pick and choose?
Yes, we do, and it's part of our job as journalists to pick and choose and decide what goes on the air. And, you know, we do edit this, but we have journalists that, you know, put this into context for our viewers to make them understand these events.
On the other hand, though, Wendy, there are a lot of viewers who will be drawn to this because it does have an element of the macabre about it. And some people say it could encourage other mentally ill people to follow in the footsteps of this murderer. How do you balance that off?
Yes, we are concerned about copycats. We are always worried. This is horrific stuff. This is horrific video. These are tragic, tragic events, what that occurred in Virginia. However, we cannot suppress the news. This is the reality of the horrific events that took place, and we cannot suppress this.
All right,
and it's up to the viewer. It's up to our viewer to watch this and understand it. And they are mature enough to pass their own judgment on this.
That's CTV's Wendy Freeman in Halifax and Roger Aronoff in Washington. Thank you both.